Hidden risk in medical devices. Imagine a patient receiving a life-saving drug through a perfectly designed medical device. Everything seems safe, sterile, and controlled. But what if something invisible is quietly mixing into that drug? Not from contamination, but from the packaging or device itself. This is the hidden risk we often overlook. And today, we are going to uncover it through something called Extractables and Leachables, or ENL. Hi, I'm Raghuveer Singh Parmar, Director Scientific Affairs at Resolve Mass Laboratories, Canada. At Resolve Mass, we specialize in solving the most complex challenges in drug development from peptide characterization to impurity identification, supporting your journey from discovery to regulatory success. Now, why ENL studies is so important? First, patient safety. We need to ensure that no harmful chemicals migrate into the drug and cause toxicity or adverse reaction. Second, drug stability. Even small chemical interactions can degrade the active ingredient, reducing its effectiveness. And third, regulatory approval. Without proper ENL studies, high-risk medical devices simply won't pass approvals from agencies like FDA and EMA. So this isn't just science, it's a requirement. The water bottle analogy. Let's simplify this with something familiar. Think about a plastic water bottle left in a hot car. Over time, heat can cause chemicals from the plastic to migrate into the water. Now imagine a similar situation but inside the medical device. The difference is in our industry, these interactions happen under controlled but sometimes aggressive conditions, and impact can directly affect patient health. Extractables, worst case scenario. Let's start with extractables. These are the chemicals that are pulled out of the materials under extreme laboratory conditions. We are talking high temperatures, strong solvents, and extended exposure time. It's basically a stress test. The goal is to identify everything that could possibly come out of a material. This gives a complete chemical profile. So extractables help us predict potential risk even before the product is used. On the other side, leachables are the real world reality. So let's move to the leachables. So these are chemicals that actually migrate into the drug product under normal conditions during the storage or use. Unlike extractables, we are not forcing anything out. We are simply observing that what happens in real life. So if extractables are what could happen, leachables are what actually happens, and that's what makes them critical. And the overall comparison overview. So let's quickly compare the two. So extractables are studied under aggressive lab conditions mainly to predict the risk. On the other side, leachables are studied under real-world conditions to verify safety. Another important point, extractables form the potential pool of chemicals, while leachables are just a subset that actually ends up in the drug. So in simple terms, extractables prepare us and leachables confirm the reality. Now let's look at some real examples. Plasticizers like DEHP can migrate from IV bags into the bloodstream. Antioxidants used in polymers can leach into the drug formulations, and residual monomers left over from manufacturing can also find their way into the final product. These aren't just theoretical risks, they have been observed in real systems. and even trace levels can matter, especially for long-term treatments. So, how does industry manage all this? There is a structured approach. First, careful material selection, such choosing low-risk materials, then conducting extractable studies to identify all possible chemicals. Next, performing the toxicological assessment to evaluate safety limits, and finally, leachable studies to confirm what actually appears in the product. And the goal is very simple: achieve maximum safety, ideally 100%. Here is an important reality check. Just because extractables are low doesn't mean the device is safe. Why? Because the real drug formulations can behave differently. Interactions can change over time, and storage conditions can influence outcome. So relying only on extractables data can be misleading. That's why leachable studies are really essential, and it's not an optional. So let's wrap everything up here and conclude something. So extractables help us define the risk. Leachables help us verify the safety. Together, they ensure that what reaches the patient is not just effective but also safe from hidden chemical exposure. Because in healthcare, even invisible risks matter, and understanding ENL is one of the key steps in eliminating them. If you're navigating complex drug development challenges from IND enabling studies to NDA submissions, connect with Resolve Mass Laboratories to accelerate your program with confidence. Thank you so much for watching this session. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next one.